for the story. Royal's looking at it, too. I'm not a big reader of the sports section, so I missed that one this morning. But listen, these government social workers...
We got a problem with them.
Well, I mean, there are parents that are abusive of their kids, but it just gets totally out of hand sometimes, doesn't it?
It's over out of hand. That's what I think. I mean, they'll do the job only when a court will force them to go out and make a house call on somebody they won't make a house call on. Well, you'll get these complaints about child abuse. They won't do anything about it. Well,
I'll go look for the story, sir, and we'll have something more to say about it. There's another story like it, though. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum here. In Fresno, California, a mother has been arrested for investigation of murder after the bodies of her two young daughters, one of them 6 months old, the other one 20 months old. She is, of course, a single woman, popping out illegitimate kid after illegitimate kid. But she was arrested for investigation of murder. The two young daughters were found in a stifling apartment in Fresno, California. The windows were all shut. The air conditioner was off. They died in this closed-up apartment on the hottest day of the year in Fresno while their wonderful mother was out looking for drugs. She had been gone from the apartment for 4 days. 4 days. Feeding her drug habit. So, in that case, fine. Charge her with murder and slam her ass in jail for the rest of her life. That would be too good for her. 872-0750, that's the number, 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. Neal Boortz on WSB.
Interesting conversations you won't find anywhere else.
He told you that his wife had affairs.
Dr. Laura.
And you called her a slut. I was so startled by that word. Notice, she's not astounded that this wife would be screwing around her husband. The only thing that bothers her is a word. This is how you know you're creeping up the backside of a feminist.
Dr. Laura. Weekdays noon till 3. Exclusively on News Talk 750 WSB. Depend on it.
The day Mike Murphy started his own business, Murphy's Poultry Supply.
The story, evidently, it's Carl Everett, New York Mets outfielder, Shea Stadium. A child care worker noticed bruises on Shauna Everett, one of his children, and the children were taken into state custody. Now, it does not make it clear here whether or not they were taken into custody at the stadium, whether somebody just walked up and took them. But police said they found no evidence to charge either Everett or his wife with any crime. There was a bruise on Shauna, but his other child, Carl, had no bruises on him at all. And they found no evidence to charge him or his wife with any crime. But they still can't let him have the children back. Because, it says, children were already remanded into the custody of child welfare authorities, so a hearing was required before the children could be returned to their parents. They haven't had that hearing yet, even though police have found no evidence of any wrongdoing. Wow, boy, child welfare people. Mike in Ackworth, then Chuck. Mike, you're on the Neal Boortz Show. Hi.
Hey, Neal.
Yes, sir.
Asking, there was no comment apparently on the arrest in Ackworth last week of a lady who did not have her dog spayed.
Didn't have her dog spayed?
Right. It was on WSB, the Channel 2. As a matter of fact, they had an update yesterday, but apparently she got a dent from the Humane Society or from the county pound. And
when you do that, you promise to bring it back to have it spayed.
Right. Well, apparently the dog ran off. They sent her several notices. She ignored those notices, and then last Thursday, I believe it was, they came on and reported that she had been arrested. Her husband paid $250, got her out. What the WSB was, or the TV, the reporter was indicating was she was arrested for not having her dog spayed, but what they failed to show in there was she was supposed to appear before a judge to answer this, and she didn't show.
Well, the TV news and broadcast news reporters, they're good at this. They had a case like that in Gwinnett County of a woman in a library book. And she was supposed to appear before a judge. She had been sent notice to appear before a judge. She did not appear before a judge as required. It was over past due library books. She did not appear. And so a bench warrant was issued for her arrest, and she was placed under arrest. And then, of course, the news reporters jump out there and say she was arrested because she didn't return a library book.
Right.
That's not the case at all. She was requested because she ignored a court order. And evidently, in the case of the lady in Ackworth, from what you say, it's the same thing. She was not arrested because she didn't get her dog spayed. She was arrested because she ignored a court order.
That's what took place. And even in the update yesterday, though at the very end of the Thursday broadcast, they indicated that she failed to appear in court. But when they updated yesterday with, I guess it's solicitor Ben, is it Ben Smith or
I don't know.
Anyway, in Cobb County, he was willing to, let her off, and get most of her money back. But it was continuing. She was arrested for not having her dog spayed, which was not.
Listen, sir, think about this. TV news, these people are after the sensational.
Oh, yeah.
Sensation means more to them than fact. Which sounds more sensational? Arrested for failure to appear as ordered before a court, or arrested for not having your dog spayed?
Oh, sure.
Which one sounds more dramatic, more sensational?
Not having the dog spayed. That's what they use for the teaser to hold you on.
Well, that's what they're going to use.
Yeah.
That is, accuracy does not matter. By the way, Royal, have you noticed the absolute sense of panic across the hall at TV news?
No, kind of, yeah.
You know that they have canceled all vacations for all on-the-air people, news people, anchors, and everything at WSB television for September. Nobody is allowed to go. All vacations have been canceled.
Really?
Yeah. People had plans. They had travel plans. They had airline tickets bought, the whole routine, and all of their vacations were canceled. You know why?
Brenda Wood.
Brenda Wood. Is it Wood or Woods? It's Tiger Woods, Brenda Wood. Okay.
Yeah.
But she's starting on Channel 5 in September. And they are panicked across the hallway. I mean, it's funny to watch. They're canceling all vacations. I guess Monica's going to have to move into her suite and be here. She wanted off the 5 o'clock newscast. They're not going to let her off the 5 o'clock newscast. She has to stay on the air. They're going to increase the frequency of her acting lessons. They're in a panic over there because Brenda Woods is coming to Channel 5. Oh boy, wait till you hear some of the stories they come up with. It's going to be great. I can hear the promos and now.
Mind, it's in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Today we're asking people what they think about the proposed outer perimeter.
More construction and fewer trees for another highway? I don't think so.
It'll do wonders for the local economy. Not through my neighborhood, they're not. Plus, it'll take the pressure off 285.
Guaranteed. Some rich developers are going to make a bundle.
Yeah, there'll be a lot fewer trucks.
Marta, that's where our money should go. Not another road for more cars to destroy more ozone.
I think it's a great idea.
I hate it.
The outer perimeter isn't just another traffic story. It's a story about federal money and land deals, air pollution and gridlock, and who ultimately will define the future of Metro Atlanta. It's the kind of story the Journal-Constitution brings you every day. Complete coverage of the issues that matter most to all of us. Is the outer perimeter the solution to traffic jams? Get the story. Decide for yourself. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You'll know when you read the paper. To subscribe, call 522-4141.
Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete.
Is your computer down again? Computer problems making you late for yet another presentation? Let me guess. Never a technician around when you need them? Or are you just having trouble loading software? Call America's Help Desk at 1-888-ASK-4700. For just $1.95 each minute, America's Help Desk provides technical support to both businesses and home computer users who often need immediate assistance. Their certified support professionals are knowledgeable in over 1,000 software applications, as well as specific hardware setups and installations. Here's the good news. They're just a phone call away 7 days a week at 1-888-ASK-4700. Call now and purchase 60 minutes of support and download PC Medic for free. America's Help Desk is a member of Help Desk 2000, a division of Support Technologies, Inc. Help is just a phone call away at 1-888-ASK-4700.
Now, the top local news from the station you trust. News Talk 750 WSB. Atlanta's news, weather, traffic, and brave station. Depend on it.
Good morning, it's 9:30. I'm Lisa Nicholas in the WSB News Center. Our top local story this half hour, sponsored by Media One. A 15-year-old is dead, 2 other teens accused in his murder after a shooting in Riverdale. A columnist at the Times, Georgia in Carrollton says he was stabbed and shot in his burning house in Heard County by 2 masked men. Harold Miles was shot in each foot and had numerous cuts all over his body. Florida authorities are not sure who to charge after 2 youngsters shot their father with their BB guns. They say the man told them the kids were ordered to shoot by mom after a parental fight. United Parcel Service head James Kelly is making a new pitch today for President Clinton to step in and halt the strike, now in its 9th day. And it could be back to the beach in Ackworth. The city council will vote today on whether to reopen the beach, closed for 5 years because of contamination. In sports, the Braves beat the Marlins 2-1 last night, splitting the 4-game series. Tonight they host the Pirates with coverage beginning at 6:07 with the Skip Carey Show on your exclusive home for Braves baseball. Just ahead, weather and traffic, plus more of the Neal Boortz Show on News Talk 750 WSB.
Atlanta's Morning News.
It's informative.
I need a station that I can definitely depend on.
First, fast, accurate.
They have more information than anywhere else.
Atlanta's Morning News with Scott Slay. Atlanta's most informative morning show. Weekdays 5 till 8:30. Exclusively on News Talk 750 WSB. Depend on it.
Today, a couple of things. Okay, yeah, Brenda Wood is coming from Channel 5 to Channel 11. To Channel 11, right across the parking lot here. Yeah. She left Channel 5 coming to Channel 11. Glad I gave some of you people out there something you wanted to call about. You mindless. So she's coming now. Chuck, John, Margie, and Lee, you all hang on to the phones there. We're going to have some fun in a second. And UPS is doing something that I strongly disagree with on their side of the strike right now. They're asking for the federal government to intervene. Hey, UPS, are you listening? This is between you and the Teamsters Union. Deal with it. Quit asking for the federal government to intervene. Quit asking for the president to intervene. It is not their job to intervene. It is not the function of the government of the United States to intervene between you and your employees in a work dispute. Get it done on your own. Quit going to the government for help. We have too many people going to the government for help. Too many people, too many companies in this country unwilling to shoulder the burden on their own. So knock that crap off. It is not the role of the government or the president to help you solve your problem with the Teamsters Union. You know, if you can't stand the heat, then give the union what they want. They win.
Listen now, Neil.
Yeah.
Everybody around King, Martin Luther King Jr., has written that final book, and nobody described him as a revolutionary. They described him as a theologian.
Well, now, are you doing your autobiography or King's biography?
But now I got to express my relationship. I was King's frontline general.
Hey, am I in the book?
You know you're in the book.
Well, that's good.
But you ain't gonna like what I got in there. But
just spell the name right, man. Just spell the name.
Yes, I threw my little computer aside.
But you didn't. This is last week on Thursday.
Last week. Last week.
Yeah, you threw your computer aside.
Yep.
And then what happened?
Well,
did you enjoy that?
No, I didn't, Neil. 2 reasons. Now, number one.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never lost an election. You realize I'm the only person in the history of Georgia have been a state representative, a city council, and a county commissioner.
Really?
The only one in the history of Georgia.
Wow.
So I never lost an election that I was ready to win. I couldn't understand Bill running for an election. You don't get in an argument like that with a guy like Neal Boortz, who's going to be on radio every day, a guy who's probably rated as the top talk show host in the southeastern part of the United States. A politician does not allow himself to get into the position. The next thing, Neil, you had the man, lock, stock, and barrel. Why in the hell are you going to get upset? You had him, it's like I was a chemist for 14 years, and the results is there. You had the man. I said, why Neil around himself to become upset? That was not the Neal Boortz.
Well, no, I was out of control. I was out of control.
That was not the Neal Boortz, I know.
I know it.
You were supposed to slay that man. You did a pretty good job, but...
I know it. I blew it.
You had the goods.
I know it. Now, why don't you tell us about this golf tournament?
Oh, yeah, that is true.
The Masses Golf Tournament.
Mr. Boortz, there is a golf tournament taking place August the 25th, that's Monday,
Yeah.
at the finest golf course in the South, the country club of the South. I have two chairmen, the Honorable Andrew Young
Yeah.
and the Honorable Neal Boortz.
Yeah,
I guess
right.
you might know both of those guys.
I know one of them.
You know one of them?
Yeah.
Now, Neal, the
I thought I knew the other one, but after last Thursday, I'm not so sure.
All right, here, that Monday at 10 a.m., there'll be registration, and we're going to have a silent auction. And some of the things that big industry been giving us the auction that blew my mind, at 10:30 that morning, the celebrity partners auction got the celebrities.
Oh, you're going to auction off who gets to play with who, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Celebrity auction. Oh, yeah, that. And that's 11. At 10:30, 11 a.m., the shotgun start.
Well, you've had a few of those, haven't you?
I've had quite a few of those, Mr. Boortz. And at 3 p.m., we're going to have a closed silent auction. And we have some very, it's unbelievable, still the industry giving me paying this debt, these big prizes they're giving us. At 3:30, we're going to have a reception and award ceremony at 3:30. Now, Neal, it's $180 per player, which includes green and cart fees, the range bowls. Now, we got a thing, a hole-in. If somebody lucky enough to get a hole-in-one test, then they get a free trip to California, and where they'll play at a tournament where the hole-in-one will pay $2 million.
Woo!
We also have a long drive and a closer to the pin contest. Who make the longest drive and the closest to the pin. And we have an awards dinner and a reception.
That sounds like a good deal.
I
Jose,
thought a young named Ray Baker, a young guy you might know.
Is any of this tax deductible?
Tax deductible. You know, we're a 501c3. And Neal, I needed so darn bad. I ended up first time last year $75,000 in debt in my Feed the Hungry program. And it's mainly because the post office, now they kept their promise to us for 18 years. We'll deliver your bulk mail between 4 and 7 days. Well, people really don't give too much until that Christmas spirit hits. So I always wait in mail on the 1st of December. And honest to God, the last 2 years, half of the mail was delivered after the 1st of January. I had people call me, I know you're crazy, but I can't believe you sending me a letter in January asking me to help you feed the people last Christmas. So we really need the help.
Well, now you're going to have to ship it UPS this time, man.
UPS, you're right. You're right. Oh, but you heard the latest, didn't you?
What's that?
They're going to turn it over to Bill Campbell.
Oh, no.
I'm just teasing.
Oh, no. He'll turn it into a government jobs program.
You'll be out there picking it up, UPS.
So, okay, now what number can people call to participate in your Feed the Hungry Masters Golf Tournament?
I ought to be telling them what number they can call. Neal, my co-chairman, but our number here is 244 222 99 3 2s and 4 9s. You know they gave me that number because of my age.
29?
Yep, 29 plus.
Okay.
But the other thing, Neal, is that, we've gotten some real good response. Like, I want to thank Herman Russell. You know, he's...
Well, good morning, everybody. It's our Wednesday, let me look at my watch, 13th day of August, which happens to be my middle name. You know, I don't often make that connection, but this is August, is Neal August Boortz, Jr. My middle name. This month. It means dignified and stately.
It means my birthday.
Neal means champion, and Boortz means stocky little fellow, so my entire name is Champion, Dignified, Stately, Stocky Little Fellow, Jr. What? And it is also, when's your birthday, Belinda?
You're going to be gone on my birthday.
Okay, then it's the week after next.
Yeah, it's the big one, too.
30. That is the only birthday that ever remotely bothered me. Was my 30th. And the rest of them, hey, from that point on, you're beating the odds. Now, welcome to the Neal Boortz Show on News Talk 750 WSB. Let me stretch across the table here and get all my nifty program notes. Of course, the biggest story in the country right now is still the Teamster strike. We got some things on that. A lot of interesting things in the Boortz short section of Neal's news today. A little bit more about my government outrage, a half-assed retraction of some erroneous information in the Atlanta newspapers regarding Mike Bowers. Oh, do those people hate to do a retraction, and they always do it in such a sloppy manner. But this, to me, the most amazing story today is this. I was propped up in bed last night reading the newspaper or something. I can't remember what I was reading. And I said to Donna, listen to this. 23%. You see, this is an explanation for Clinton's approval ratings being so high. 23%, my friends, of adult Americans believe that the sun orbits the Earth. 23% of adult Americans believe that the sun goes around the Earth. Donna said, "You're kidding." See, Donna used to work in the space program. I think she knows better. I said, that's not the worst, Donna. It says here that 53% of adult Americans do not know how long it takes the Earth to orbit the sun one time. And there's a lot of people out there that are listening right now that are thinking, gee, how long does that take? And you're slamming your fist into the steering wheel and you're looking around. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you. But 53% of adult Americans don't know how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun. The answer's a year. That's where we get a year from. So this morning here at the radio station, I conducted my own poll. I walked all around the place asking people that question. I think I probably asked about maybe 10 people. I only encountered 2 people that knew the correct answer to both questions. Whether or not the Earth orbits the sun or the sun orbits the Earth, and how long, and after they got that one right, how long it takes the Earth to orbit the sun one time. Only 2 people. And since I am always known for injecting race into everything I do on the air, may I point out to you that the only 2 people that got the answer right were black. Royal Marshall was one of them. Royal was one of them, and one of I don't know who she is. You know, the gal with the crew cut in the cafe that I'm always giving a hard time over. Boy, yeah, you spent a lot of time on your hair this morning, didn't you? Yeah, that one. And then she comes yammering at me down the hall until I escape into the studio where she's not allowed. Yeah, that one. One of the sales weasels actually said the sun orbits the Earth and it takes 24 hours for the sun to go around the Earth one time. That sun is clocking, isn't it, folks? It's 93 million miles away. There's your radius. So you figure the circumference, and it's covering that sucker in 24 hours. Pi r squared. Let's see. Pi r squared. I forgot the formula. What is it? C equals pi r or pi? No, area is pi r squared, isn't it? Pi times a radius. Pi r squared.
I think pi r squared is the circumference.
You think so? Or is it, no, pi r is
Trust me.
No, I think
next 5 seconds.
I know all these brain. No, hey, Captain Herb. Okay, Captain Herb. What's the formula?
Don't ask me, okay?
Let's pretend it's a racetrack.
I at least knew the 365 answer, okay?
Okay.
I don't know what the cherry pie. This is what I say, okay?
Cornbread r square, pi r round.
Downtown 75, 85 northbound. There's still a little aggravation for you to deal with, I'm afraid, as you make your way up around University Avenue, heading up to I-20. But once you clear Grady Hospital, things are A-OK. On up to Freedom Parkway, 75 southbound, a nice ride out of Cobb County, 400 southbound, clearing trouble between Northridge and Abernathy, and still aggravation from before Holcomb Bridge Road until you get down to the Northridge area out of North Fulton County. And 285 westbound, lighter than normal, slow spots, Peachtree Industrial Boulevard over to Ashford, Dunwoody, First, fast, accurate, Atlanta's best traffic news, Talk 750 WSB.
Oh, hi. Pardon me. I see how...
my time.
He's an actor who is playing a plumber who shows too much of his butt, as plumbers often do. His pants are slung so low. And the ad shows Jenny talking on a phone with a friend as the plumber bends over under the sink, and Jenny says, "I'm getting my crack fixed. It's so big, it's smiling at me." What in the world does that have to do with shoes? I don't get it, but maybe later on as my brain power increases. Why don't we just go ahead and start out with a negative phone call, folks? Somebody that doesn't have, well, I love negative phone calls. I go for them. Those are the first ones to get on the air. It's Thomas from downtown on the Neal Boortz Show. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, how's it going today?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I listen to you every morning on my way to work. And
yeah.
Normally I'm full support of what you're saying, but something you said earlier kind of got under my skin.
What was that?
Well, you were talking about the 20-some-odd% of people who thought the sun orbited around the Earth. And
yeah.
The additional percentage who didn't know that it was 1 year for the Earth to orbit around the sun.
Yeah.
And I agree that is a terrible fact. I mean, that our grown-ups and even the people going through the educational system are just not as educated. They don't put forth the effort that they should be.
Right.
But what gets me is when you talk down on them so much for not knowing these astronomy facts, and yet you have no idea what something as simple as the circumference of a circle is.
Yeah.
And then you kind of laugh it off.
Yeah.
And, my bet is that those same people...
You're right, Thomas. You are right. I mean, knowing the formula for calculating the circumference of a circle is every bit as general knowledge as knowing that the Earth actually goes around the sun. You're right.
Well, my bet is those people they tried to laugh it off too when you asked them the same question, then boom, you got hit with the exact same thing and kind of got stung by your own medicine.
You're right. Anybody that is smart enough to know that the Earth actually goes around the sun and it takes 1 year to make a complete trip should also know the formula for determining the circumference of a circle. You're absolutely. I'm agreeing with you. You're right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just bringing that to your attention because
I
you're
agree
pretty quick
with you
to lash out, and you're just as guilty of the same.
Absolutely, sir. Anybody that doesn't know the formula for the circumference, determining the circumference of a circle, is hopelessly stupid.
Well, you may be kind of blowing by the point there. I don't know.
No, I get the point exactly. I mean, I should hang my head in shame for not knowing the formula for determining the circumference of a circle.
Well, to you, that mathematical fact is the same to other people as the astronomy fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. I should be profoundly embarrassed.
Well, for me, they're both slam dunks, but for you, evidently, they're not.
Oh, no, well, they should be, but they're not, and it is because of my abysmal ignorance and lack of education.
All right, buddy.
Okay?
You take it easy.
Okay.
I'll still listen to you now.
Oh, of course you will.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye now.
Yeah, bye. 872-0750 now. Folks, on Neal's News this morning, I know that a lot of you are tired of this strike, but it is starting to have effect. Businesses are starting to go out of business now because of the UPS strike. Businesses are starting to go out of business because they can't ship and they can't receive materials. Now, admittedly, the businesses that can't withstand a 10-day UPS strike are underfunded or undercapitalized anyway. They should have seen this coming, and they should have been a little bit perhaps better prepared to deal with it. But be that as it may, they're getting ready to go out of business. Some of them are going out of business. Others are suffering. We're going to start seeing layoffs. We're going to start seeing business closings. Some businesses are operating on a 4-day work week now to cut back on production because they can't get their production shipped. And I listened to a press conference yesterday with Ron Carey, the Teamsters president, and he was absolutely typical union. Typical union. He's always screaming about the workers. We've got to protect the workers. The only thing that Ron Carey is trying to protect is his job. They're trying to make this strike look like something for the working people of America. A press release came from the Labor Council of the Atlanta, Georgia Labor Council, AFL-CIO, today said, we know, this is Stuart Acuff. Now, you people have heard Stuart Acuff on this radio program, and you know what a left-wing nutcase he is. He says, we all know how important this strike is to every working family in America. The only reason this strike is important to working families in America is because it is destroying their jobs. Beyond that, it has no importance to most working families in America. By the way, you know, under the labor union definition of working, Oh, it's getting nasty in Washington, folks.
This is Scott Slade. We expect developments on these stories later today. You heard first on Atlanta's Morning News.
This thing has got out of hand. This thing is for labor.
U.S. Labor Secretary tries to get the Teamsters and UPS back together at the bargaining table.
When you do a regional mall, you need to look at it as a real center of community.
Construction of the biggest shopping mall in the Southeast gets underway officially in Gwinnett County today. And Atlanta's fire chief holds a news conference.
Passed the legislature by a vote of 133-1. If you have reason to believe, if you reasonably believe that somebody is trying to take your car away from you by force, whether they have a gun or not, whether you see a gun or not, if you reasonably believe in Louisiana now that somebody is trying to take your car away from you by force, you can shoot them and kill them and you will not be prosecuted for it. You just need a reasonable belief. Love it. Carjackers now in Louisiana are on notice that if their intended victim shoots them dead, they will walk free. No prosecution, not even an arrest. They also have laws that allow you to use deadly force against suspected attackers who have entered your homes or place of business. I think it's Texas that has some sort of a law. I think it's Texas that after the sun goes down, if you catch somebody on your property without your permission, you shoot them and let God sort it out. And just to take you back a couple of years and let you know the mindset of liberals on this matter, many, many years ago, Senator Ted Kennedy tried to rewrite the entire federal criminal code. It was, at that time, Senate Bill number 1. And Ted Kennedy had a provision in there which stated that if you were, to put it in the layman's terms, if you were in your home in the middle of the night and you heard somebody break in the front door of your house and you heard them rummaging around your silver cabinet or just ripping off your TV and your stereo and everything, if you had the means to escape your home, in other words, if your bedroom had a door going to the outside, the law would require you to run from your house and leave the intruder in your home. In other words, if instead of running from your house, you got a gun, walked into the living room, and shot dead whoever it was that was robbing you, you would be charged with murder if you had a means of escaping your home. This was a federal law that would require you to run from anybody that broke into your house. It didn't make it, but that's the liberal mindset on this. I love what they've done in Louisiana, and watch carjackings go down real quick out there on Louisiana. 872-0750. That is the number. News Talk 750 WSB. And we're going to put Bob, I think it was Bob, wasn't it, back on the line. He had another point he wanted to make about this strike. Bob, speak up for us now. Go ahead.
Okay, is that better?
My temper. I mean, he got the best of me, period. I completely lost control of my temper. Royal hit the bleep button so many times that the little bleeping machine bleeped out. Pretty much. We really bleeped up the bleeping machine, didn't we, Royal, on that?
You can say that again.
Yeah.
We need like a 2-minute dump now.
We needed a 2-minute delay because I lost it. And if it wasn't for the fact that I just have such a stone-cold contract here, I surely would have been suspended for that show. Okay, but it'll be on the CD. Now, before we go back to the telephones, Lord knows why we do, but we will.
AirTouch paging is...
That this UPS strike is starting to track right along the lines of the Eastern Airlines strike. Do you know now that the Independent Pilots Association, they're talking about their own strike against UPS? They got some bargaining coming up next month, and if they don't get an agreement, they're going to go into a 30-day, and then they're going to go on strike? Just like those idiot pilots for Eastern Airlines did in destroying their employer. It's funny. It's starting to sound and to play in just like the Eastern Airlines strike. Yeah, I was going to stay off of it today until you union jerks out there started calling up and threatening my life. You think that that's something new to me? Do you think that after 28 years of talk radio in this town, never afraid to say what's on my mind, as you learned last week, that it's something new for me to have somebody call up and threaten my life? Do you think you're the first? Do you think you're unique? God, I'm so used to that. All you've done now is put me back on the subject. That's fine. That's fine. Anytime. Happy to do it. By the way, do you know that there is a strike against the Teamsters Union? Yeah, their office staff up there in Washington or wherever they're headquartered, they're members of some international brotherhood, sisterhood of typists, stenographers, and office workers, and copy machine jam clearers or something like that. And they are either on or fixing to go on strike against the Teamsters Union. I love it. The wheel is round. Well, if I owned a business and my workers ever unionized, I swear to you, I promise to you, I would close the business immediately. And I've seen it happen. Those people are my heroes. They do everything they can to run the business and to treat their employees fairly and squarely, pay them a fair wage for the work that they do, and then the employees start listening to this song of some union organizer somewhere, and they go out and they have a vote, and they vote to unionize, and the next day the man shuts down the business, fires each and every damn one of them, and liquidates the business and retires. I saw it happen to a trucking company up in the Midwest here about 7 or 8 years ago. A trucking company. His people, they were already organized. They were unionized. And they wanted a raise. And he laid out his profit and loss statement in front of me. He says, I can't afford it. And the union organizer says, oh, he's lying to you. Dirty damn capitalist, he's lying to you. So they went on strike. The next day, he shut the doors, sold the building, sold all the trucks, liquidated his assets, fired every employee, took all the money, moved to Florida, bought a retirement home, and retired. You can picket an empty building, you union jerks. So, you know what makes me mad? What makes me mad is so upsetting is when people abandon their individuality. If you've listened to me any time at all, you know that one of the things that I prize is individuality. And when people abandon that individuality to become a member of some mob that is incapable of rational thought, it's tragic. And people who abandon their individuality like that are weak. You people on the picket lines out there at UPS, you are weak. You are weak for a number of reasons. You are weak. If you disagree with the strike, you're weak because you won't stand up for what you believe in. You are weak because you're following this Ron Carey who won't even allow you to vote on the UPS offer. Now, how smart is that? And you're weak because you have abandoned your individuality and you have become a member of a mob. Chanting slogans started by somebody else. Carrying signs painted by somebody else. And in so many cases, totally unaware of what the real true cause is for you being out there marching that picket line. And how do you respond to that? Death threats. Boy, that's smart. What great men you are. That's smart. 13 minutes until 11 o'clock. Neal Boortz on WSB.
We expect developments later today on these stories you heard first on Atlanta's Morning News.
The average worker's probably had enough. We're doing this not just for us, but we're doing it for everybody down the line.
The Teamsters plan a huge rally in Atlanta tonight as UPS and the union plan talks in Washington. Bad frozen hamburger meat is shipped to 2 restaurant chains, including a big fast food outlet. And a King Air turboprop crashes in fog in Dalton, Georgia, killing 1 person. More details coming up. And start every morning with live team coverage of the top local stories on News Talk 750 WSB. Depend on it.
Brown & Company Jewelers on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell wants you to know more about what makes the Rolex Oyster such an exceptional watch. All oysters are individually assembled at the Rolex factory in Switzerland. We're expert watchmakers.
Months before she was born, and we planned our budget and planned how we were going to do this. And his benefits and everything through UPS cost us $10 to have a baby that the birth was over $8,000.
Woo!
So we felt that those benefits were more than adequate. And so we quit my job, and I'm staying home. And they've gone on strike, and he felt like that this company had been too good to him for him to cause them downfall.
He also had this strange idea, I suppose, that his primary responsibility was to his family and not to the Teamsters Union. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And so last week he happened to be on a scheduled vacation, and so he decided that he wouldn't cross. He would take his scheduled vacation and see how things, came to pass. And Monday, he and 2 women and 1 other guy crossed the picket lines in a center outside of Atlanta. They're not at the Pleasantdale Center.
Yeah.
And, he's gotten death threats. We've gotten some ugly phone calls. Some of the wives gotten signs placed in their yards, threatening what they're going to do to him and things like that. And he's going to continue to work. And he's just not taking it real seriously. He's tried to talk to some of the guys over the phone. We've sat down and both read and discussed the plan and just feel like the pension plan offers the UPSers more money. The insurance benefits are phenomenal. I just had to have dental surgery, which was $2,800. And under the old plan, it had a $1,000 cap. Under the new plan, there would be no limit to the amount that they would pay for whatever needed to be done in a year's time.
Yeah, my plan has a $1,500 cap.
This one would not have one at all.
And I, too, am facing oral surgery that I'm putting off day after day.
Right.
And it's going to come out of my pocket because the plan won't cover it.
Exactly. So we just felt like this was, just ridiculous that they were going to do this. And most of the guys just do not believe that there will be layoffs. They just don't see that that's going to happen. And
they don't think that UPS will hire replacements.
Well, I don't think that they realize that some of the guys that were preloaders, which was what he did originally, some of the guys that were preloaders were saying, we're doing this to help you out because my husband is a part-time driver.
Yeah.
And, when the volume's not there, he goes back to loading a truck at 2 a.m. in the morning. So that definitely affects the way we get to live our lives, whether he's, going to bed at 8 p.m. or getting to see the baby or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he was talking to some of them, and they said that's just a scare tactic. They're really not gonna lay any of us off. And they're just being told that by the union and continuing to believe it.
Well, they believe anything that the company does is a tactic. Anything that the union does has the blessings of God for some reason.
That's right. That's right.
I don't get it. And there are always 2 sides. What really bothers me is when people abandon their individual identities, and that's what these people that are making these death threats and these threats against you and your husband, that's what they've done.
Well, and a lot of these guys have a lot more seniority, which is how everything's based at UPS, than my husband does. And what we're concerned about is when this thing is all said and done, if they vote it back to the old contract where that everything is done out of seniority and not out of merit of, your performance, that he will be demoted back to loading trucks at a less, pay scale. And some of these guys that have been on strike that have cost this company millions of dollars will go back to $19 an hour.
Well, keep in touch with us because
sure
I think on Monday things are going to get hot because that's at the point by Monday, if this thing isn't settled, UPS is going to start firing people, laying off.
Right.
Some already have been. They moved one facility. They've shut down a facility permanently.
Right.
Here in Georgia. I think it was minor and maybe only 30 or 40 jobs lost, but it's gone.
That's right.
And those
families are hurting.
And they'll start hiring replacement workers next week, if my guess is right. And then maybe some of these mindless Teamsters will start thinking for themselves instead of following this corrupt union they have into oblivion.
Well, we hope that UPS stands strong on what they believe because we're behind them.
Okay, hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
8720750, 14 minutes after the hour, and it's Boone. Boone in Butthead. How you doing, Boone?
How you doing? Boy, that is such a beautiful picture on the web there.
Of Belinda.
Oh Lord, I tell you, you didn't tell me you had that up there with
Don't let your wife catch you looking at that picture. Boy,
I tell you what, I think the reason Bill Clinton won't step in, I've been hearing the United States Post Office just making a killing on this.
Oh, they're doing very well.
I think Bill may just step back and let the United States Post Office just make all the money they can while they can.
Well, I think the reason Bill Clinton hasn't stopped the strike is because he owes his heart and soul he is bought and paid for by the AFL-CIO. But consider this. If UPS starts firing striking Teamsters and hiring replacement workers, then watch Bill Clinton move real quick to stop that. And maybe the only way he'd be able to stop it is by invoking Taft-Hartley and stopping the strike.
And another thing, I was watching the news. Unfortunately, you know how you get stuck watching that TV news.
I used to be stuck watching TV news. I watch it very rarely now.
I'm starting to learn. I'm listening to the master of all.
Well, I am going to be watching it. I'm going to be watching it when Brenda Wood comes on Channel 11 because she has these people across the hall here so scared they've had to put porta potties out in the middle of the newsroom because they can't make it across the hall. They're so nervous. So I'm going to sure be watching to see what that's all about in September.
But I've seen a couple workers that they were showing saying, well, I thought this strike would be over by now. And it looks like some of these people would learn about Eastern Airlines and exactly what happened to them.
Well, look at the International Pilots Association, the UPS pilots. Now they're talking about their own strike. They want more money.
Well, you know, I know thousands and thousands of people that would take the part-time money that they were making and take their jobs in a heartbeat. And I just can't believe, you know, people will risk their jobs, their family and everything for another $1 an hour, which they would get in a few years anyway. And some of them people have 18 years. If they were unsatisfied with their job for 18 years, I would have found a job a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, if I wanted full-time work and one company isn't going to give it to me, I'll find the full-time work. Those people are working at UPS because they want to work at UPS. 17 minutes after 11 o'clock, 8720750.
Baseball stadiums. They use your tax money to build.
Well, I guess it is when it causes people to want to threaten to kill other people.
Well, that's gross and that's ugly and that's
But it's union. That's what unions do. That's the union mob mentality.
Well, some do, some don't.
You ever hear of the management? You ever hear of UPS management calling union people and threatening to kill them? It is the mob mentality of the union.
Well, I think the question really is, does one believe in collective bargaining? And it's apparent to me that you don't. You certainly have that right to express and so forth. I think that's the basic question.
Why didn't you ask me instead of stating my position for me?
No, I said my observation is.
Yeah.
I think you've stated your position. You said they gave up their individuality, which is saying that this is not collective bargaining. Well, my point is, and I think it has not been expressed, is this didn't just start. This strike is not the beginning, apparently, and I know nothing. I know beans about UPS or what they've done before. However, I think it's probably true, don't you, that there's been a lot between UPS and the union before the strike was called. So therefore, what's happening now, and I repeat, violence, threats of death, this stuff is gross. It shouldn't be happening. But this didn't just start.
Well, no, of course. There were negotiations before the strike was called. I think everybody knows that.
Well, it's not being talked about, though, and apparently,
wait a minute. I have to disagree. It is being talked about. Before this strike was called, United Parcel Service made an improved contract offer to the Teamsters.
Sure.
And the Teamsters Union then, after that offer was made, called a strike without even allowing its members to vote on whether or not they liked the offer.
Well, I don't know the details of this, but this is war, and I don't think anybody, either the union or the company, wanted a strike. It's that simple, and one of the first casualties in war is the truth. And I believe you, Neal, and I've listened to you for 20 years, and everything you say is BS. Right?
Okay.
It's a great show. I enjoy you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, 872-0750. We got Jimmy. Jimmy's out there in Sandy Springs. Hi, Jimmy.
Neal, more or less a rhetorical question, but how come the post office won't be hit with a windfall profit tax?
Does the post office even pay tax on its earnings?
Well, if you look at it, they're about to raise rates again, from what I understand. Can't they take the profits and put... I mean, it's all rhetorical. Of course they won't. You know that good-looking woman that UPS put up front?
Oh, yeah, and she is attractive, yes.
Heard her on the radio last night.
Yeah.
This woman has a desk with no drawers. She is absolutely brain dead, and all she could talk about was the 95% strike vote. And the interviewer kept asking her, why can't they vote on the proposal put forward? She said, when we voted to strike, we gave up the right to see the proposal. And she kept saying this.
She said that? We gave up the right to see the proposal?
Over and over and over again. And
Damn.
she kept calling her 20 hours a week that she worked part-time a career. I'm sorry, that's not a career.
No.
And real quick, years ago I worked a couple of strikes up north, and you better believe that the presidents of the companies that I had to fight against, I was on the management side, the presidents of our company were notified of all picket breakers. And so for that woman who thinks that her husband, whether he did the right thing or not by going over the line, you better believe that the executives know who crossed the line, and they will be rewarded later on.
Well, that's good to hear. They should be.
Have a good day.
Now, by the way, you know that this thing about a 95% strike vote is a fraud, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. They went out, the night before? It is a fraud.
Now, there's 180-some-odd thousand Teamsters. They want to give the impression that 95% of these UPS Teamsters voted for the strike. The fact of the matter is that vote was held at the various union halls. There, I work with here, Belinda and her family and what have you. So I just decided, you want to play that way? Then let's just go back on the air and discuss that and spill the beans and talk again. Oh man, if I could pull a switch right now and just fire every damn striking Teamster from UPS, I'd pull the switch. Most of those people could be replaced from a high school graduating class in a heartbeat. So let's get on with it, UPS. Get those replacement workers in there. Jim Roswell appear from the studio.
Damn, baby, what you do to your hair?
So we're gonna have to hide that away somewhere. 872-0750 News Talk 750 WSB. Tom in McDonough, how you doing?
Just fine, Neal. How are you today?
Okay, wonderful.
Good. My question, I want to ask you now, this was obviously a union-busting, last and best offer.
Let me ask you this. NBC News, about a week or 2 weeks ago, said that even Dr. Nick said that Elvis died of a